Indeed, Gareth, it's really heating up here, as we say, at the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Lots and lots of people coming, flowers arriving for Mandela, cakes, people are sending all sorts of things to the foundation. And most importantly, they're calling to find out where people can spend their 67 minutes. But Nelson Mandela Day is not just celebrated here in South Africa. It was made an international day in 2010 by the United Nations. And joining me now is the resident coordinator of the UN mission to South Africa, Mr. Agostinho Zacarias. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Zacarias, before we get into what this means to the UN, I know you have a personal story of Madiba yourself, being a Mozambican national. Can you share that with us, please?
No, when he came out of prison and he took a tour around the world and he was in Mozambique, I had a privilege to meet him because I was his personal translator during that visit, and together with his former wife, Mrs. Mandela then. And I found him to be very warm, very calm, asking all questions. One time I was not very familiar with his accent, and I misinterpreted his word and I asked him to repeat. Then he just turned to my president and said, "Oh, the young man is telling me to shut up because I've talked so much," but in such a warmly way, and it was nice. Even though I've made that mistake, I felt warm about it.
His warmth is something that resonates not just here in South Africa, but globally. Can you tell us how in the rest of the world and in terms of the United Nations, what's the significance of making Nelson Mandela Day an international day?
You see, it's because of the values and the principles that he inspired around the world. The fight for social justice, the fight for human rights, and the principles of also sharing, the time that he spent dedicating to community, and his good spirit of forgiveness. I think it is remembered and celebrated globally. You have children from China, from Korea, from Latin America, making draws about Mandela. You have intellectuals discussing about, what would have South Africa been if Mandela wasn't there. You have journalists worried in case he disappears tomorrow, what's going to happen to South Africa. He's a man of such a stature who has inspired quite a lot of people around the world. And so he will be remembered for generations to come, and his teachings, the way he's done so and inspired this society to remain united and united. I think that's what inspires people globally.
Well, thank you very much. So, and one of the last places that Mr. Mandela was doing all of that work in terms of unification was right here at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and we were actually given a special tour of his office. Here's that story.
News that moves. eNCA.com.